And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, I'm working on your financial freedom. And on today's show, we're going to talk about the vast real estate markets. We are going to talk about everything real estate today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pour so much information in your brain, you're probably going to have a headache, so you probably need to reach for that Advil or whatever you use to combat headaches, because I'm going to make the gray matter between your ears dance today. Yeah, we're going to have some fun. So let's get right into it. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we focus on real estate investing. That's part of the reason you've tuned into this show, is because you want answers on how to do this correctly. At Lifestyles Unlimited, that's what we're all about. We're a real estate investor education and mentoring company. That's all we do. We do it extremely well, and we've been doing it for 34 years. There's no one else in the industry that compares to what we do. We have 34 years of expertise. We have 34 years of knowledge. We have 34 years of changing people's lives one piece of real estate at a time. And you can change your life using real estate. I'm here to tell you, it's the real deal. Everything you've read about, everything you've heard about when they talk about real estate, it's all absolutely true. It's all true. It will ultimately change your life. But here's the problem. Here's where you have an issue. You don't know where to start. You have no idea where to start. Do you start with renting property out? Do you start with buying a warehouse? Do you start with something else? Do you do nothing? Do you go into analysis paralysis and you just don't do anything? Or do you go out and buy the first thing that comes along because, well, it's got to be a good deal, right? Okay, I understand your confusion. I understand your frustration. I understand all of this because I have been in your shoes. I used to be a real estate investor before I joined Lifestyles Unlimited. And let me just tell you how I educated myself and how I advised myself on what assets to invest in. I was living on the West Coast, a place called California. You've probably heard of it. There's a lot of Californians moving out of there because of what's going on politically in that state and what's going on economically in that state. And those people are moving to other parts of the country. So why did I bring that up? Migration. You need to know where people are going. When people are going to certain parts of the country, what is going to happen is they are going to bring with them their desire to live in real estate. And now here's the ironic thing. Those parts of the country that they're going to may or may not have enough real estate available to them in order for them to either rent or buy replacement real estate. Because remember, they were probably living in some place in California, unless they were one of the people that are homeless that you see on the news all the time. And I'm not picking on the homeless population. I think that's a sincere problem in our nation. But I think what they do in California just exacerbates the problem. I think it conditions the problem. I don't think it actually deals with the problem. Let me get back to this concept of migration, though. So as people migrate and they go to different parts of the country, they will want to consume real estate. In other words, they're either going to rent a place to live or they're going to buy a place to live. But here's the problem. That place that they go to may be suffering from stagnation in inventory. What does that mean? Stagnation in inventory. It means there may not be enough inventory available for these people as they move into these new regions. And what happens at that point? Well, a little thing called pricing sensitivity kicks in. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Pricing sensitivity. What does that mean? It means that the markets, I know the markets are just this giant thing that exists out there that don't have a conscience, don't have an intellectual being. They just exist. The markets will determine that the pricing on that available real estate needs to go up because the demand is increasing, but the supply is staying where it's at, or it might even actually be declining. That's what we're seeing in the industry right now. I read an article just before I came on the air that was talking about how certain real estate professionals are feeling the pinch. They're feeling the pinch because there's not enough inventory available in the marketplace. And here's the reason why. A lot of people that live in a property that maybe bought the property a couple of years ago, like I'm one of those people. I bought the property my investment. Well, let me take a step back. I bought my personal residence a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Okay. And when I bought the property, the interest rates were very, very low. I think I've got a 2.85% interest rate on this house that I live in. It means now that the interest rates have adjusted upwards, if I were to sell this house, I would probably not be able to buy a replacement house as nice, if not nicer, than this particular house because the cost of the interest for the loan would drive my pricing up. So as a matter of that statistic right there, just that statistic right there indicates that I'm going to stay in this house. I'm going to stay in this house. There's no advantage for me or Tina to sell this house because we can't move up to a nicer property because of what the interest rates have done. So what does that mean? That means that this house will not be going on the market. It means that a lot of the houses in my neighborhood will not be going on the market for that particular reason. It means that people aren't changing residences because they don't see an advantage to selling their property. As a result of that, there's not inventory going on the market, and there are not as many people leaving the great state of Texas as there are coming to this great state of Texas. So the available homes that would go on the market because people are actually leaving the state is minimal. All right, I got a riddle for you. You ready for it? Here it comes. What do Darlena, Cindy, Stacy, Shane, Rick, Chris, Jeff, and Danny have in common? What do they have in common? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to think it through. What are you answering? Okay, here's what they all have in common. All of these people are experts in their own particular marketplace. First of all, they're all licensed real estate agents, and they're all licensed real estate agents that are a part of the Lifestyles Realty team. These are the individuals that manage the different markets that our members invest in. As a matter of fact, Lifestyles Realty has grown out of the necessity to service the needs of the Lifestyles Unlimited community. It means that when our members demand certain services, Lifestyles Unlimited is responsive to meet that demand. We provide the services that our members are looking for. So when it comes to the realty arm, for many, many years, the realty arm was located in Texas. The realtors that worked for the Lifestyles Unlimited Realty team were Texas-based realtors. Now, I believe some of them may have had licenses outside of the state where they could transact different properties, but primarily the majority of the services provided were provided in the Texas marketplace. Now, that changed a couple of years ago when Lifestyles Unlimited realized that there was demand in Arizona. And when Lifestyles Unlimited decided to open up an office in the Arizona market, they also decided to open up a realty office to augment it. In other words, they knew that if members in Arizona were going to come to Lifestyles Unlimited and we were going to grow our membership base there, we probably needed to have the real estate arm available to those members so that they had access to the real estate team. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, let me point out right up front, as a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, I am under no obligation to use a Lifestyles Realty teammate. I am under no obligation to do that. I can go out and find my own realtors. Just because I'm a member of Lifestyles Unlimited doesn't mean I have to use any of the services that Lifestyles Unlimited provides. But I'd be kind of dumb not to, don't you think? Don't you think I'd be a little bit dumb not to use the services that Lifestyles Unlimited has sat down and thought through and realized, you know what, if we make this available to our members, not only will they use it, they will flourish? Yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? So who are Darlena, Cindy, Stacy, Shane, Rick, Chris, Jeff, and Danny? Well, they are experts in their particular geographical location. I would consider them experts, and here's why I would consider them experts. Because they have fundamental knowledge about the real estate markets that they operate within. and they're extremely knowledgeable people. If they weren't extremely knowledgeable people, and if they didn't understand what my needs were as a Lifestyles Unlimited member, they wouldn't be on the Lifestyles Realty team. It's as simple as that. So Darlena, she's an expert in the Georgia markets. Yeah, we have a lot of members that invest in the Atlanta markets and other markets surrounding the Atlanta market. There are secondary and tertiary markets around Atlanta that our members are finding quite lucrative. And Darlena is one of the people that provides the realty services to our membership team. Does that make sense? Not our membership team. I guess our membership is kind of a team. We are teammates with each other. So I guess I've just proven something to myself. All right. So what does Cindy do? Cindy focuses on the Tennessee markets. Stacy focuses on the Arizona markets. Shane focuses on the Kansas City and Missouri markets. Rick focuses on the South Carolina markets. Chris focuses on the Central Texas markets. Jeff focuses on the Houston markets, and Danny, Dallas-Fort Worth. So why am I throwing all these names out and all these geographical locations to you? Because over the next several weeks, Lifestyles Unlimited, as part of the Lifestyles Unlimited radio network, will provide to you opportunities for you to hear these individuals speak. What we're going to do is we're going to bring them onto the radio. And the reason we're going to do it is because they have more intense knowledge about the marketplaces that they operate in than I do. Yeah, I'm serious. I could do market shows for you, and I've done market shows for you. And here's the challenge that I have with doing market shows. I have to go and learn a bunch of stuff, and then I have to qualify all the information just to make sure that I know the information is accurate before I present it to you. But if I bring one of these real estate professionals onto the show, I don't have to do much of that because they've already qualified the information, because they're in the trenches. Do you understand that? They are in the trenches. They are working through day-to-day requirements for transacting property. They see the good, the bad, the ugly. They know how to react to the good, the bad, the ugly. They'd rather just react to the good like everybody else, but they are well conditioned and well prepared to deal with whatever ugliness might arise during the transactional process. And that's why you need people like this on your team. I'm serious. You have to have people like this on your team because they bring a level of expertise that maybe you don't have. And let's say you do have that level of expertise. Let's say you have it and it's all right in your little finger. Okay, what's wrong with bringing on additional expertise to augment your expertise? Wouldn't that make you a more expert person? I think it would make you a more expert person. So what we're going to do, so let me just break the whole thing down for you. Okay, I'll just break it all down for you. This is going to be a conglomeration between Del Walmsley, Andy Webb, and myself. The three of us have agreed to team up and to interview these experts. And you're going to get, now if everything that I think is going to happen works out the way it's going to happen, I still have to have a meeting with the realtors to work this out. So let me just throw out to you what I think my expectations will be. I would like these professionals to interview with Del. I would also like these professionals to be interviewed by either myself or Andy Webb. And here's why. Del comes at things from a certain perspective. He has a certain way of looking at things. And by the way, he's been doing this for 34 years, so we all respect his insight. We all respect the way he does business. Andy and I, we come from a slightly different perspective. We come from a slightly different location when it comes to what are we trying to get as far as information out of these real estate professionals. So like our Tell Al and Tell Del series, where we technically interview the same people, but you get two different shows, we're looking to do the same thing with our real estate professionals. So what's the takeaway for you? What do you get out of it? Well, you're going to get two different approaches to these real estate professionals, and we're going to pull information out of them that you can use, information that you can add to your information base that's going to help you identify markets that maybe you want to invest in. There's nothing wrong with changing your marketplace as long as you have a game plan and you know exactly what you're doing, you can jump from market to market to market. And it doesn't hurt to have an expert on your team. When we come back from the break, we're going to get back into this discussion of single family versus multifamily.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
I was at a seminar one time and a guy was sitting up there and he was saying, what you really need is you need the young, aggressive entrepreneur people to go out there and take that money and invest it with them. I walked up to the front of the stage and I said, hey, I'm that guy you're talking about that should be mentoring these people on how to do this. The guy goes, sir, we don't allow solicitation. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm here to tell you I'm exactly the guy you were telling them to look for. And I'm willing to help them for nothing. And the guy goes, if you don't stop soliciting, I'm going to have the security come and get you. And I said, I can see you're a scam. I'll just leave. Everything I said had gone through the intercom. So I walked out of the seminar room and 200 people followed me. And that's how Lifestyles was started.
Are you ready to get up and follow Dale? Join us today at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, I'm working on your financial freedom. And on today's show, we're going to get into the different asset classes that we as Lifestyles Unlimited members, we invest in. Now, I'm going to be upfront, and I'm going to tell you that real estate as a category of an investment class encompasses like 9 different areas. There's 9 different areas that make up the different types of real estate. Now, 8 of those types are considered commercial real estate. 1 type is considered single family real estate. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of why do we have single family real estate set apart over here and we have these other forms of commercial real estate over here. I'm not going to get into that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that there are different types of real estate. Now, at Lifestyles Unlimited, we don't focus on raw land. We don't. And here's the reason why. You can't depreciate raw land. Yeah, the IRS does not allow you to depreciate land. Land is something that could pay you an income if you're able to get a ground lease on the property. So land is something that could provide income, but you cannot depreciate any of the improvements. Well, I guess you could improve the land to a certain extent, and you could write off the improvements that you made on the land, but land is usually just that. It's land. It's land. It's land. And it ain't going to change anytime soon, unless, of course, we have a major, catastrophe or something like that that could change the landscape. What other types of real estate are out there that we do not invest in? Well, we don't invest in hotels. Hotels are considered short-term rentals. In other words, you have people moving in, you have people moving out, people moving in, moving out on a daily basis. That's how hotels work. They provide overnight stays. They'll let you stay for as long as you want, and some of those stays could turn into long-term stays. I remember when I was in the military, there were times that I actually lived in a hotel for a while because of the duty assignment and where I was, et cetera, et cetera. So I stayed more than a day, but I was the exception to the rule. I wasn't the primary rule. Does that make sense? So we don't invest in hotels. What about retail centers? We don't invest in those either. And here's why. Did you live through the pandemic? Did you? Did you see all those retail store spaces that had massive problems because they couldn't open their doors to customers? Yeah, that retail space didn't matter anymore. It didn't. When the government locked us down, retail basically was put out to pasture. It was. Now it's coming back. It is coming back. But understand that the retail space is designed for you to lease out property. It is. But you have to understand who your customers are. Your customers in this particular place tend to be business entities. They are business entities, and you're going to be doing business with business entities. And here's the problem with business entities. Not all businesses are going to survive past their first year of business. Not all businesses are going to survive past their fifth year of business. Not all businesses are going to survive past their fill in the blank, right? Eventually, businesses get to the place where they stop. They do stop. Now, it may take 100 years or so, it may take 200 years, but eventually the purpose for a business tends to run out. And in many cases, the purpose for a business tends to run out in a year faster than 100 years. Does that make sense? Yeah, what I'm getting at is that a business may or may not have stability. And that's part of the reason we don't invest in retail, is because there is a lack of stability amongst your potential client base. Yeah, you're taking a risk on somebody being successful in their business, and if they're successful in their business, then they can pay you your rent. Does that make sense? What about industrial? Now, industrial is an interesting animal. It's definitely long-term leasing, but it has the same kind of problem that retail has. It does. It has the same kind of problem. And because it's industrial, chances are you're going to have people manufacturing things on the property. Well, that leads me to the concern of environmental hazards. Yeah, when people start manufacturing stuff on your property, they could create environmental impacts on the property itself. And when they leave, those environmental impacts will stay behind. That could be a huge remediation price for you in order to clean all that mess up. Yeah. And what if, now some of you are going, well, we'll just make the person that created the mess clean it up. What if they did Chapter 13 bankruptcy? Yeah. What if the reason they're no longer tenants is because they did Chapter 13 bankruptcy? What does that mean? That means they have liquidated everything. They owe nobody anything. That means you're stuck. You're stuck as the property owner. There's another class of real estate called office. Now, to me, office is in the same group. I think it's even in a worse group than retail, because during the pandemic, we realized that we didn't necessarily need office space to go to work in order to get our work done, correct? You know what I'm talking about. Now, I know that there are employers that are clamoring to get their employees to come back to work, and I realize it's a push versus shove type of a match. You've got employers that want the employees to come back. The employees are like, hey, I got 2 years of working from home. You know what? I don't see any real reason to come back to the office. So there's a power struggle going on. So how does that impact you as a potential owner of office property? Well, I think that office is probably the class that you should not be in the most. That's what I think. I think it is too risky. I believe it is too risky, and unless you can get a very, very stable long-term tenant to occupy your office space, you don't have a stable long-term tenant occupying your rental space. It's as simple as that. Now, this leads me with the last type of commercial real estate that I'm going to share with you. It's multifamily. I think multifamily is the best asset class of all the asset classes. I do. When it comes to commercial real estate, this is where I put my money. And here's why. If I learned anything during the pandemic, I certainly learned that everybody needs a place to live. I certainly learned that. And I made a lot of money during the pandemic. I did. I was invested in multifamily assets during the pandemic, but I also owned single-family assets. Now, I want you to understand that they are two different marketplaces. Multifamily and single-family, two completely different marketplaces. Multifamily is considered a part of commercial real estate. Single-family is not. Now, why do I bring that up? Because you have to know that there is a difference. There is a very distinct difference between the two. In the multifamily space, I don't compete with people that are looking to buy the asset to make that asset into their primary residence. That does not happen in the multifamily space. Now, there may be some one-off thing going on where some dude bought himself, say, a 12-unit apartment community, and he's leasing out the other 11 units because he wants a place to live. I will tell you, as a Lifestyles Unlimited member, that is the dumbest move you can make, because you've effectively taken 1/12 of your units offline so that you could have a place to live. That does not affect your NOI very favorably. And that's the point I'm trying to make. In that commercial real estate, value is determined based on income streams of the property. period, end of story. In the single family space, value is considered based on what other things are sold for. I told you at the beginning of the show I was going to make the gray stuff between your ears hurt, and I think I just did it. Okay, so here's the problem. Everything that I'm trying to convey to you in this radio show really takes some time to explain. It takes some time, and it actually takes some interaction between you and me. But there is a way. You can send me an email at askal@luinc.com. Every email that is sent to me, I do answer because I want to make sure that you're getting the right answers to what you're trying to accomplish. That's part of the reason Lifestyles Unlimited exists, to provide you a qualified education on how to invest in the two asset classes that we know are the most viable in real estate, single family and multifamily. And both are different, especially on how they're valued. I would recommend you check out Lifestyles Unlimited. You should go to lifestylesunlimited.com and you should check out what's on the website there. I want you to start conditioning your mind. I want you to start exploring the different possibilities that are out there. Lifestyles Unlimited provides a lot of information, a lot of resources for you to help you get going. You don't even have to be a member to take advantage of what's primarily on the website. You've got articles about real estate investing. You've got all the radio shows that we do. There's a lot of other tangible information on that website that will help you too. And then when you become a member, you get access to the Financial Freedom Educational System. What does that mean? That is essentially the roadmap that we follow. Now, it takes 16 hours to explain everything that you need to know in order for you to be a qualified real estate investor. When you step out of the education, you are now considered a sophisticated real estate investor, meaning you have specific knowledge on the how-to side of the equation. You know how to invest correctly in single family or multifamily assets. That is a game changer. It's a big deal. Then if you decide you need them, we have dedicated mentoring services available to you. Now, I will tell you, not everybody upgrades to those services. Not everybody needs them. It's an opportunity for you to get access to certain services that our members have said that they want. That's part of the reason they exist. They're not there because you have to have them to be successful. They're there to augment you. If you feel that you need them, you need to add them to the equation. It's as simple as that. So let me take a step back and let me look at this big, giant investing bubble that's out there in the world. Now, remember, I said that there's like 8 different types of asset classes that we can deal with as investors, and I eliminated 6 of them. So there's only 2 of them that you need to be focused on. And by the way, both of them have to do with providing clean, functional workforce housing to a demographic that is desperately looking for something clean, functional, that is in their price range. That's what we offer as Lifestyles Unlimited members to our client base. Our client base enjoys what we offer because what we offer is better than anything else that they can find in the marketplace. So I'm serious when I tell you, if you want to get started, if you want to do what I'm doing, if you want to do what the 50,000 members of Lifestyles Unlimited are doing, it's as simple as this. Since you're at lifestylesunlimited.com already, there's a little opportunity for you to sign up for a free workshop. I want you to click on that button. I want you to sign up for a workshop. And here's why. In an hour and a half, we're going to give you the beginning information to the Financial Freedom Roadmap. If it makes sense to you, you should go ahead and join and become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. If it doesn't make sense to you, you have 2 options. 1, ask questions until it does make sense to you, or 2, just reject it. It's as simple as that. At the end of the day, not everybody can be a real estate investor, but those that choose to be real estate investors should have the best support system for them. That's what we offer at Lifestyles Unlimited. So to get started, go to lifestylesunlimited.com.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.